What's up guys, today we're going to be talking about how to fly a drone 101. I'm going to take you through getting your first drone all the way to being a professional. I wanted to do this video after several people have commented asking how to fly a drone, just the basic beginning. So if you are a professional or semi-professional or actually know the beginnings of how to fly a drone, this is not really the video for you. This is for the very beginner drone pilot. You should keep watching if you do know how to fly a drone already, because there may be some tips in here you didn't know and could help out with your drone flights. This video is sponsored by Teeny Drones. They're an awesome micro drone company from Canada. They have awesome drones and different packages. Make sure to check them out on their website, which is teennydrones.com. Step one is to get a drone. So I would personally recommend that you, the first drone that you pick up is some micro quad such as this one. It's very inexpensive, ranges between like $20, $30, $40, and then if you crash this, most likely it'll be just fine and nothing will break, but if something does go wrong, it's just an inexpensive quad. So after you have picked out your drone, you want to find a suitable flying location. So back behind me here, we've got this nice open area. What you want to look for is make sure it's relatively flat, no trees, no power lines within a good distance. Also make sure that you are well away from any airports or other restricted areas where drones are not allowed to fly. You can just look up safe places to fly drones on the internet and it will come up with several great parks or other public places where you can fly drones legally. Make sure if you do fly in some sort of a park, there are very few people there, because if you have a large group of people, that is not a very safe place, especially if you're just starting out learning how to fly your quad. So once you've found a suitable flying location, make sure that all of your batteries are charged. That's the worst thing to happen when you get out to your flying location and your battery is dead, or it's only partially charged and you only get to fly for a couple of minutes. That's the worst thing. So before you go, always make sure that your batteries are charged. If the drone that you have is one with a camera, make sure that you have a micro SD card or whatever other form of media you need, and make sure that there's enough space on that to record for your entire flight. So once you've done all the pre-flight checks, then we're gonna get to the actual flying. So we're gonna take our teeny drone and plop it down over here, and I'll show you how I learned basic mechanics of how to fly a drone. I had flown a couple of RC planes in the past. I wasn't too great at that, and a lot of the basic maneuvers, if you are familiar with the remote controller, are very similar. This remote controller by the company Teeny Drones actually comes in a more video game style. So if you are somewhat of a gamer or enjoy playing video games, it's going to be very familiar when you hold this in your hands. So first off, you're going to turn it on, of course. Typically it's on one of the sides. You'll find an on-off switch, or if yours has a removable battery, if you plug in the battery, then it'll automatically turn on. Then you're going to want to place it on some sort of a flat surface here. Since the grass here is a little long, I have a bucket that we're just going to place it on top of, just like that. The first thing you always want to do is turn on your remote. The reason you want to turn on your remote first is to make sure that the throttle is all the way down, because if you turn on your drone first and then you turn on the remote and for some reason the throttle is on high, then it'll just fly up into your face, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure that you turn the remote on first, then you turn the drone on, and then start with your flight. With most quads in general, you have to arm it first, and with the Teeny Drone and most other micro quads, all you have to do is take the throttle, which is the stick on the left, push it all the way to the top, it'll beep once, bring it all the way down, and it'll beep a second time. Then it is armed, so as soon as you touch this throttle, it will start flying, as it does right there. With the more fancier drones, you have to bring them down into the center or bring them left, throttle left and right. It really depends. Read your user's manual if you have questions on how to do that. Always gotta be people screwing up your audio. Alright, so let's go over the basic controls of the remote controller. So typically you'll have your on and off switch somewhere on the bottom center, right here, just like this. Then you'll find two sticks that look like this. The left stick, when you move it up and down, will move the throttle. So that basically means how high the drone. So if you push it all the way up, it will rise fairly fast depending on what the settings are on your drone, and when you bring it down, it will come down. So typically when you have it in about the center, it will be at a stable hover. When you move this left and right, so side to side, it will yaw the drone. That is one of the more complex maneuvers of the drone. So basically taking it and turning it, you'll get a feel for this when you actually start flying it. It's pretty difficult to explain if you haven't done it before, but when you move it left, it'll turn left, and right will turn right. Now on the right side, it's just all the different movements like this. The way you can move your quad is by turning it. So when you turn it, all the motors will bring it forward, or if you turn it like backwards, it'll bring it backwards. So when you push the right stick forward, it's gonna make the back motors move faster, so then it'll pick up and move forward. Same with side to side, up and down, just like that. Some other controls that you don't need to play around with or may not have, it's different on everyone, are the different trim. That is, if your quadcopter starts to drift, when it's in a stable hover, you can adjust the trim. But that's one of the more complex things. You don't really need that when you're first starting out. If your drone enables trick functions, that will be on the top. This may be flips, or if you have a camera, it could operate the camera. Make sure to read your owner's manual if you want to learn more about that. Now let's get to the flying. So when you're first starting out here, I would suggest before anything else, you have everything prepared. You just learn how to control the throttle up and down. Don't mess with if it drifts side to side. If it does that, it's fine. You're in a nice open space, so that's not going to be an issue. So if it starts to drift because of some breeze, or if your trim is off, that is just fine. Let it drift, and then hopefully if you're on some grass or some soft surface, you can just land it before it gets too far. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take a couple steps back. You don't want to be too close to your drone. Then you're just going to take the left stick here and move it up until the motors start going. Just like that. You've already started your learning process. You want to get used to how the hovering feels, because you're not going to be able to control anything else if your drone just falls or goes too high. So that was an example of not enough throttle. So next time we're going to raise it up a little bit higher. So if your drone does that, it goes too high and you don't want it to go that high, you don't want to lose it, you just bring the throttle all the way down and it will come down. So far we've only been controlling the throttle there. We haven't been touching any of the other controls. Now we want to make sure that we perfect the throttle, get it in a nice stable hover right about here before we continue with the other controls. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a breeze here, but we want to get it so it's in a stable hover right about at your shoulder level. So once you've mastered that, you can move on to testing out the right stick. So moving it side to side, left and right. If there's a breeze, you can counter the breeze and then you won't have to do as much walking. But yeah, just play around with it, figure out what it does. Don't go too high. I've had a couple of friends done that where it goes too high and then the wind takes it because it's very strong up there. If the wind takes it, then it's just gone. Typically when you first take the remote controller out of the package, it's automatically in the beginner mode. That may be one of the buttons up here or a different button on the side. If you feel confident enough after this can take around 15 minutes to get used to the actual flight. Then you can try some of the different modes, some of the flipping functions if yours is a trick quad, such as the Teeny drone here. The last step in our tutorial here is just to have fun with it. That's the whole reason we're doing this hobby. So just make sure you have fun, stay safe, and keep on flying. Don't forget to check out the other tutorials on my channel to learn more about advanced camera techniques when you have a higher end camera drone, stuff like that, how to move your drone, how to tilt the camera, pan the camera, move with a tilt, all that stuff. There's a video just for that for you to watch if you want to learn more about that. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you want to get a copy of this quick start guide that I made, you can find a link below to print out the PDF and take it with you to your park or wherever you're flying, just to double check that you have got all of the steps covered. So definitely, if you want to take one of these, you can find that for free in the link below. And as always, don't forget to keep it pro.